I think this is an amazing concept of getting people from different parts of the ecosystem together. Like in the panel that I had, which was building blocks, I was happy that I had an OEM, I had a parts supplier, I had a dealer, and I had a fleet owner as well. So what it helps do is bring different stakeholders together so that you can collectively think on issues and challenges, and plus also think about what kind of opportunities are shaping up in the future. Let me divide this into two parts. I think one is a short-term outlook, which is probably in the near next 2-3 years' time. The industry has really seen a lot of reforms coming in over the last few years, be it GST, be it demonetization, be it axle norms, be it something like bankruptcy which hit the industry, be it something to do with the NBFCs which hit the liquidity or which created a situation of liquidity crunch in the industry. I think despite all this, the industry has still grown healthy at about 8-10%. My sense is that we are likely to see this kind of a growth continuing till at least 31st of March 2020. We are likely to see some kind of an uptake maybe in the last quarter of 2019. The reason being because once BS6 comes in play, since there is going to be a significant escalation in terms of the prices, a lot of people may want to do preponement of the purchase cycle. That's given, of course, with an assumption that if there is a demand, then people may want to invest and buy the vehicle at least in advance. The immediate next year, FY 2020, is going to be a little challenging year because the prices are going to go up. And if the prices go up by a significant percentage, as we are hearing from the OEMs that it is likely to be, say, 12 to 15%, we may see a slightly sluggish 2020. And the sales could be either stable or even below than what we see in 2019. But if I see a long-term perspective, a 5, 6, 7-year perspective, our analysis indicates as Deloitte that this industry is likely to grow at about 11%, 12% or so, or between 10 to 11%. We are likely to see shifts between the LCV, the HCV and the small commercial vehicles. But overall, I think we are likely to see a decent growth rate of 10 to 11% in a long term. So maybe that in 1 or 2 years, we may see a little dip, but long term is positive. So I think technology is going to be one of the real big game changers. We spoke about a lot of things, but one of the things that I want to mention, or a couple of things I want to mention, is just like you have Uberization that has happened in the PV industry, and to a certain extent we have seen Uberization even happening in the 2V industry. In trucks, really, we have just seen a few small startup companies coming up in that space. It's a very, very large, wide space, especially given that a lot of trucks in India are owned by the small fleet owners. More than 70% of the truck population is with the small fleet owners. If some company or if some few players can create a marketplace for these small fleet owners, where they can ensure that all the connections which are necessary, say between the demand hubs which need to transfer material from one point to another point, and with the fleet owners who actually have capacity to do this. So if you can create an open market space where you can tie up the two people together, I think there is a lot of opportunity in that space. Apart from Uberization of the trucks, I also believe that there is a lot of technology advancements which are going to happen in the space of telematics of the vehicles. And this is going to be largely from a perspective of not just tracking where your vehicles are on the road, but this is also going to ensure that a lot of real-time data on performance of the vehicles gets back to the OEM in some form and shape. A lot of analytics over this data can help in yielding a lot of insights which could help in terms of enhancing the product life cycle, reducing the total cost of ownership. So I think that going forward, we are likely to see a lot of technology changes impacting this particular sector. If you seriously speak about the fleet owners, see what happens is that they see cost escalations happening. So when we move from BS3 to BS4 or from BS4 to BS6, they're seeing the cost of the fleet going up whenever there is a change in regulatory requirement. Now, they were expecting that there should be a significant improvement in the efficiency of these vehicles. Now, unfortunately, that efficiency improvement has not happened. So cost of capital has gone up on one hand, but there is not really significant improvement in the distance covered by the trucks. It has improved, I would say, but just about by 10 or 15%. It has not significantly improved. So that's one challenge that they have. The other challenge that they have is in terms of the toll cost going up for them overall. So as we discussed even earlier in the morning, the percentage of money or spend that they have on tolls has increased over the last few years. It's not just the money, but it's also the amount of time that some of these fleet owners tend to lose as capacity